Back now with our special coverage after the arraignment of former President Trump today. I'd like to bring in Democratic Texas Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. Congresswoman, your reaction to former President Trump's speech tonight, his declaration that he didn't go through the boxes and he had every right to keep whatever he wanted when he left the White House.
Well, thank you so very much for having me. First, my statement would be that no one in America, no matter what their political philosophy is, caused the incident or the indictment of Donald J. Trump. No one in America caused the indictment of Donald J. Trump. All of this is singularly caused by, instigated by, created by the former President of the United States. Once we get through that, once we understand that, whatever message he tried to convey to us, it is the same message. It's everyone else's fault. It is not his. He's been treated unfairly. And, you know, I'm offended by this concept that the Republicans have, dictated by Donald Trump, of the weaponization of the Department of Justice or law enforcement at all. I happen to have been a former judge. I deal with local law enforcement. And how would it be if I got up every day to say that tickets are being given by local police departments, Houston Police Department, others, are weaponized against traffic violators? His assessment of what the Department of Justice has done, and I heard your previous speaker, Director Wray is his appointee.
Right.
He got rid of the other attorney, FBI director. And so his message tonight was everyone's after me. And again, that message is they're after me to get to you. They're after his family. And no one has any evidence of any overall attack against his family members. So my assessment is he was indicted because of his actions of holding defense documents, of concealment of these documents, of conspiracy to conceal, and frankly, what I'm most concerned about is the fact that he concealed documents dealing with covert operators and covert information such that our people in the field might be endangered. I am completely taken aback as a member of the Homeland Security Committee as well that he would do that.
All right. Texas Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, thanks so much tonight for joining us. Really appreciate your particular take. Interesting, because we, of course, have many members of the House, Republican members of the House, who really rallied to former President Trump's defense. Members of the Senate are now vowing to hold up Senator Vance, saying we'll freeze all DOJ appointments going forward and because of this indictment. So members of Congress are deeply divided as well, along with the rest of the country.
Yeah, but what's interesting is that almost all Republicans, even those who are being critical of Donald Trump, are still saying that there's this two-tiered system of justice in the Department of Justice. This, as Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee just pointed out, the FBI is run by a Republican, Chris
And you
Wray.
said there's never been a Democrat.
There's never been a Democrat who's run the FBI, ever.
Right.
Now, the response to that often is, yeah, but people still hate Donald Trump. Yeah, there's some Republicans that they don't like Donald Trump. Okay. That's different than saying that the Department of Justice is weaponized against Republicans, right? I've on my show numerous times listed all the Democrats, high profile, head of the Louisiana Democratic Party, former congressman from California, Ron DeSantis' political opponent for governor in 2018, Andrew Gillum, all of them, Democrats, high profile, the FBI has gone after, right? And this notion, oh, the FBI only goes after Republicans. Look, I view myself as very pro-law enforcement. I defend our local cops, our local sheriffs, state troopers. I talk about it a lot. The FBI is also law enforcement. And it's the same sort of arguments that you hear again and again from both sides. The left complaining about the cops, the right now complaining about the FBI.
But look, it's about what's true and then a play on it for political advantage. We do have an imperfect justice system. And I don't know about tiers of justice, but there are often cases for the difference in administration of justice, just not for Trump. Trump got the benefit of every kind of deference you could get here, right down to how he was processed today, which, by the way, I'm fine with. Donald Trump doesn't need a mugshot. I get why Democrats and people on the left wanted to see it because of the shame. But we got a long way to go, and this campaign is going to have a long way to go. Anyway, this was great once again. I love working with you guys. Thank you for having me with you. Elizabeth Vargas, Dan Abrams.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider.
And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.